On the 9th of April 1241, the most heavily armored, best protected military force on Earth was completely wiped off the map. In a single afternoon, a massive army of European knights, the medieval equivalent of main battle tanks, was slaughtered by a ragged, outnumbered force of nomadic horsemen. The massacre was so absolute, the victors didn't even bother taking prisoners. Instead, they packed 9 massive sacks with the severed right ears of the fallen. They didn't win using brute force. They won using a terrifying new stratagem. They hijacked the Europeans' instincts and convinced them to destroy themselves. Now, let's survey this battlefield and reconstruct the death certificate of medieval warfare. This wasn't merely a clash of armies. It was the day the heavy knight became utterly obsolete. Every major military tradition in Central Europe stood together an iron wall of heavy lances and cross-emblazoned shields. They fought under the rigid, predictable laws of chivalry, where courage meant holding your ground and delivering the hardest physical blow. To the European commanders, this formation was an invincible walking fortress. And they were about to make their first fatal mistake, assuming the enemy would fight a European war. Commanding the Mongol vanguard was Baidar, a master architect of asymmetrical warfare. He didn't command the main horde, he commanded a diversionary swarm of wolves light, impossible to catch, and reliant on absolute mobility and psychological pressure. He knew a frontal assault against Europe's strongest cavalry was mathematical suicide. So, he wasn't fighting the knights. He was fighting the choices the knights hadn't made yet. Baidar's stratagem was devastatingly simple: weaponize human behavior and convince the fortress to unlock its own doors. Inside his heavy helm, a young Teutonic knight wiped cold sweat from his brow, his vision restricted to a narrow, suffocating slit. Confident and eager for glory, he watched the Mongol line sitting across the field. Mounted on unarmored ponies, clad in silk and boiled leather, they looked impossibly fragile. It was a masterpiece of psychological bait. The Europeans were bred to crush men beneath their hooves. And looking at this glass enemy, the young knight and his commanders were primed for their second fatal mistake: blind arrogance. The European vanguard initiated the shock and awe. Thousands of hooves churned the earth, accelerating into an unstoppable wedge of iron designed to shatter morale before the moment of impact. It was the ultimate physical weapon of the age, rolling forward with earth-shaking momentum. But the Mongols didn't brace for the strike. Like a flock of dark birds, startled by a sudden gale, the light horsemen broke formation and fled in apparent terror. Inside his helm, the Teutonic knight grinned, his blood pumping with the thrill of the chase. The Europeans cheered, entirely blind to the reality that they were charging directly into an open grave. To the Europeans, this was a sudden collapse of infidel morale. To Baidar, it was the Mangudai, the feigned flight. This wasn't cowardice, it was the most psychologically demanding maneuver in military history. It required Spartangent-like discipline to run while being hunted, deliberately dragging the heavy European cavalry further and further from their secure infantry lines. The knights swallowed the bait whole. Drunk on the rush of impending victory, they spurred their massive destriers forward, pushing their horses to the absolute limit. In their frenzy, the unified wall of iron began to fracture. The gap between the fast-moving elite cavalry and their slow-marching infantry widened into a fatal, gaping abyss. The young Teutonic knight felt the initial rush fade into a creeping unease as the galloping stretched on, the enemy always just out of reach. Riding at the absolute vanguard, a veteran Polish flag-bearer locked eyes on a lagging Mongol rider just 30 paces ahead. As he braced to deliver the killing blow, the fleeing rider did the impossible. Without slowing, the Mongol rotated smoothly backward in his saddle and drew a heavy composite bow. The horrifying realization hit the veteran. They aren't running. He reached for his horn to sound a desperate recall, but it never sounded. A heavy arrow punched through his visor with a metallic crack. The great banner tumbled into the mud, and the warning died with him. With the heavy cavalry effectively severed from its infantry support, Baidar triggered the third and final mistake. Mongol accounts describe incendiary devices, smoldering reeds, and chemical powders hurled into the damp grass. Driven by the wind, a foul, toxic mist rapidly billowed across the kill zone. The atmosphere itself was weaponized. The trap snapped shut, swallowing the European vanguard whole. For the young Teutonic knight, the battlefield simply vanished. The glorious charge decayed into a suffocating, isolated nightmare. Acrid smoke burned his lungs and blinded his eyes. His 1,000-pound warhorse, driven mad by the noxious fog, thrashed wildly in the obscurity. He couldn't see his commander. He couldn't see the enemy. He was locked inside 200 pounds of steel, and the claustrophobia was absolute. Then the true horror began. It started not with a roar, but with a high-pitched mechanical whistling. The air above grew dark. Baidar's heavy archers, positioned in a massive, unseen crescent, unleashed a plunging iron rain of armor-piercing arrows into the blind fog. They didn't need to see their targets. Inside the smokescreen, it was a slaughterhouse. Horses collapsed screaming, throwing their heavily armored riders violently into the mud. Men tried to stand, but the armor designed to make them immortal became a suffocating anchor. The knights were drowning in their own steel. Baidar didn't commit to a dangerous melee. He simply let the panicked Europeans trample themselves in the lethal fog, bleeding out the strongest cavalry in Christendom from a safe, untouchable altitude of distance. Through the chaotic gray mist came the final, chilling masterstroke. A voice rang out, not in Mongolian, but in perfect Polish. "Run! Run for your lives!" The European commander froze, realizing the Mongols had infiltrated their decision-making and weaponized their own language. The cry echoed again through the blinding mire. It was a Mongol decoy, a calculated auditory stratagem positioned to trigger an avalanche of cowardice among the distant infantry. Hearing the panicked screams of their supposed commanders, the unarmored foot soldiers broke rank and fled. The bluff was absolute. The European knights were completely abandoned without a single Mongol blade touching the infantry line. From the ridge, Baidar lowered his hand. The psychological torture was complete. It was time for the crushing finale. Emerging from the dying mist, the Mongol heavy lancers rode forward in terrifying, dead-silent synchronization. The exhausted, unhorsed European elite, including our young Teutonic knight, now crawling blindly through the bloody mud, had absolutely no momentum left. Steel met iron with a final deafening crack as the coordinated charge swept over the fragmented survivors, flattening the last isolated pockets of resistance. By sunset, the battlefield had fallen silent. The Mongol soldiers didn't bother hunting for glorious duels or scavenging cumbersome armor. Instead, they conducted a cold, bureaucratic tally. Moving quietly through the debris of European chivalry, they stripped the fallen of their final dignity, filling 9 massive sacks with the severed right ears of the dead. A chilling receipt proving the impossible had happened. This wasn't merely a Mongol victory. It was the death certificate of medieval warfare. Baidar had destroyed the ultimate European war machine not by matching its strength, but by convincing it to destroy itself. Every charge, every pursuit, and every desperate decision had been anticipated hours before the first lance ever lowered. Legnica exposed a terrifying truth that shattered the myth of Western invincibility forever. 200 pounds of steel meant absolutely nothing when the enemy bypassed the armor and shattered the mind. Steel protects the body. Strategy decides who keeps breathing.